finalizing your video with transitions and effects. So I am going to first open up my doc here. And I learned something from the Zoom recordings. And basically what happens is when I put myself, I know that our first call we had, I was kind of in the way and I was moving myself. It worked great for what we see, but on the recorded version, I'm still in the way. So
Oh,
on day two, when I recorded on my phone and I went through everything, after my computer crashed and all that, and I went through and I did it, I had myself on there and I had myself just off to the side of the phone. When I went through to edit it, I was right smack in front of like the CapCut screen. So you couldn't see a thing. So I had to do
oh,
it again.
oh
So
man.
yeah, so it's been a learning process with that and juggling, these kinds of things. So it's been super interesting anyways. But so I'm going to get this open and then look to share my screen. Okay, so we should be looking at session two, finalizing your video with transitions and effects.
Mhm.
Okay, so this is the part where you've edited your video and you want to make sure that it is basically set to go. Because when you have those few seconds that it's either just like that, where I had a silence, then you start to lose somebody. So you want to make sure that you get rid of that dead space. Or maybe you say something that's irrelevant to the message or the conversation, that you're having with, the camera, then you want to make sure you get rid of that. So there's certain things that you want to make sure of. So using transitions, effects, and overlays can help with that and hide certain things. So you want to rewatch your video critically to find moments where the pacing drags and it really slows down. You want to eliminate distractions and remove anything that doesn't add value and keep engagement high by ensuring each moment maintains interest because you don't want to lose the connection that you've already made. So with the transitions, you want to smoothly connect the clips to maintain momentum, and with overlays, add elements like text or graphics that can add to the video. And even your B-roll that you have in there, just walking the dog or making your coffee as you're talking. And if it's relevant, then that's even better. So what I'm going to do is go into my phone here. So I'm going to screen share that. And
Alan, real quick, how often do you edit on your phone versus desktop?
so I edit on my phone about 5% of the time. And it's
Okay.
usually only when I'm not in front of my computer.
Okay.
So the rest of it I do on desktop because I have access to the whole timeline. I
Correct.
can basically see everything.
Right.
And you can also select multiple clips. Whereas on your phone, if you have to go into each clip, if you want to make an adjustment, you know,
Okay.
for example, where on
Okay.
desktop, you can select all of them if you want to. You can basically hit Command A or
Right.
whatever it is on Windows to select all
Right.
and select everything and do whatever you need to do.
Right. Okay.
So that's one big advantage, and it has other effects and things. It has more available on desktop than it does the phone.
The mobile. Right. Okay.
Yep. So let's see here. I have. Okay, I think what I need to do is I've learned all the little intricacies where if I go to my phone and screen share, the only way I can show is if I unplug it and plug it back in. All right, and there we go. And see my CapCut. And all right, so I just wanted to do a few examples of the transitions and effects. So what I'm going to do is go into this video, which was the same one that we worked on in day two and did some editing. And it's uncut. It's just the video itself. What if you could walk away from a training with not just knowledge, but a polished video ready to share? That's okay, so you see my pauses and you see what happened there. And so what I want to do is go to the point where I see I stopped talking. Now on desktop, it's much easier to see the audio like wavelengths where you can see yourself talking and you can stop right at that point and you can cut to the next point rather than doing captions and kind of how it does the auto captions and cuts that dead space out. You can see it better on desktop. So what I'm going to do there is split there and then go to the point where I start talking right there. And I'm going to drag it. Now I talked about the zoom ins and the zoom outs, those little changes to keep people's interest. So here what I'm going to do is add a transition. So if I go to that white box with the line, that brings up my transitions. And a lot of times it's simpler the better. Depending on your video, if it's a very active video and it's a fun video, that's when you might want to throw in some like flames or the money flying or something like that. Other than that, you usually want to do something subtle, almost so you barely notice. Same thing with sound effects. You want to do them so you can almost just barely hear them and they don't overwhelm the whole thing. So in this case, what I'm going to do is one that I usually use is pull in. I'll do that one a lot, or swipe left. And I'm going to use, in this case, I'm going to use this one right here, pull out. And right on the bottom here, I can change my duration that I want it. And I usually don't want to cut into any, because I keep my speaking pretty tight. I don't leave any gaps between when I speak. So if you do your transition too long, it kind of cuts into your speaking. So I usually put it in like the 0.8, 0.6 area. And then I hit the tick right there in the upper right. And it gives me this. That's exactly what you'll get. So very subtle. That's exactly. And I almost want to cut that a little bit closer because with my finger and the way I move in a little bit, it cuts it closer. So it'll give me more of an in-your-face kind of look. That's exactly what you'll get in this intensive. So that's one instance where I'll use a transition, especially if I'm moving and I'm coming into the camera. Then you can do like a zoom in and it's almost like I'm moving into the camera like 3D style. So I'm really coming at you. And besides a transition, if we look at an effect. So what I'll try and do is, if it's something where I'll use this, I'm doing like I'm revealing my solution to the video or solution to the problem that I posed earlier. What I'll do is I'll use the sunlight effect, and I'll do that. So as I'm saying it, I almost do like the godly choir saying ah, and I'll have the sunlight come on me, so it's almost like you've been enlightened. And so what I'll do is I'll go right to the end here, and I'm going to go to effects, then I'm going to go into video effects. And again, you have a whole bunch of things here. I can tap explode
to secure your spot.
And you can tap on them quickly
intensive to secure
just to see what it looks like. A blur.
Comment intensive to secure your
Nobody
spot.
wants to see me. This one here. Some of these are really interesting. Sometimes I'll just play with them. I'm like, you know what? That one fits. And it causes interest. So, I go with it and I test it out. But in this case, I'm going to, right here, I'm going to type in sun and search.
Comment intensive to secure your spot.
So there we go. Now on desktop, you can't do this on all of them, but this one I can go in and I can actually change the intensity of the sunlight. I can change the direction of the sunlight too. So that's another thing that you can do better on desktop than here. So here you can change the duration of how long it goes on for just by dragging to the end. And I probably won't want to have that too long because it's kind of visually distracting when you do too much of it. But I'll use those in certain points. Sometimes I'll do, when I talk about video and, when you don't clean your lens, maybe I'll do like a black and white, or I'll show it really grainy and I'll put like a grainy effect in there to make it look even worse. And then when I say, once you clean your camera, the resolution looks great. And then I might pull in like a sparkle, where you have whatever you're looking at showing a sparkle. And it adds intensity to what you're talking about. And it's cohesive with what you're talking about. And it just works together. And just using those little things, even by doing one thing per video, it just gives it that little bit of, what do they say, panache, So those are a few things that I like to use. And once I have my video set and I have my captions done and I've split my clips and adjusted them and I've gotten rid of the dead space, then I'll go through and I'll do those transitions. and I'll do the maybe some other overlays, maybe something I haven't added for B-roll, or I found an empty spot where it's kind of boring, where it's just me for like 10 seconds, and I'm like, all right, I got to put something else in here, then I'll do that. So, any questions on the effects or the transitions? I know they can be pretty basic, but for many that don't use them or that maybe use templates where it does it for you, then it might not know. But
I was
ultimately,
I was playing around with the putting overlays on my TikTok videos
yeah,
rather than do the green screen because TikTok is muting me, and I think it's because maybe the photo's copyright or something. Um, so I can still use the photo in the actual. I put it in CapCut, and then I do the video effect
right.
animation, and it'll either look like a film strip or
Yeah,
swirling away from you. I'm
yeah.
doing the out transitions when it goes to another photo, but it's working out. Everybody's saying they're liking it. So
Good,
I'm
good,
just,
exactly. And it's almost like you have to dive into your little project and you have to become one with it, you know? And I
Mhm.
realize some people, it's just part of the process that they do and they can afford to have somebody else do it. And as soon as they are making the money, that's the first thing they're doing is getting rid of their editing. But in the meantime, it's when you dive in and you just see these little things, you know, where you can put in a sound effect or you can put in, you know, that swipe or that reel, you know, where it's rolling away or with a film strip because you're talking about, you know, a debut and you do the film strip. It's just cohesively it matches. And when you
Mhm.
watch it really good, now this is extremely strong on YouTube. And we have our YouTube expert here today, Dean. And there's times where you watch a YouTube video, and even me, I'm like, how do they do that? They make it look so seamless and they add these effects that just are seamless. They're like flawless and they're good. Now, a lot of them are pre-arranged clips or pre-arranged screens, and all they do is add it in. So it's not really that they might, you know, add in their wording, you know, their text, but that's all done. And it's just a matter of the resources that you use. And as you get into this, you see these resources and how they're available. But it really polishes the video. And, you know, when you're dealing with somebody, you know, there's times that you have, you know, raw video, which is okay. And it works in so many situations. And I recommend everybody do that. But, you know, there's times when you need that almost like a trailer. You know, you're unveiling a new product, something like that, that you really want to have it shine. So,
So are you
yeah,
talking about like templates that you just put your scenes into?
you can definitely.
You know, like
Um,
iMovie does that.
right, right. I know there's like captions. I think captions is one too that it can use AI to kind of find the best fit. It doesn't. Oh, I've played around with it, and I don't know if it's just because I don't use it enough that it doesn't really work well, or because I do it myself. I'm like I can do a better job anyways. Uh, Sometimes
Yeah,
it finds
yeah,
things that just don't fit, and it looks awkward.
yeah.
But I've seen some AI that generate a video, and you're like, wow, this is pretty good. So it works in some situations, but I'm sure those that use it more often are better at it. So that's with transitions and effects. And by using these, it will help enhance your storytelling and help accentuate what you're saying at that moment. Whether it's a, you know, the camera pans into something or zooms in right at that moment, it really draws your eye in. And it can really bring you in, just like the music. If you were to use the same video clip and apply 5 different types of music to it, you're going to get 5 different moods from the viewer. You know, it might be happy or sad. It all depends on what music is playing. So, you know, these are all kind of things to look for. And it takes time to go, you know, to kind of fine tune all this, but just being aware of it, you know, as you're making your video, you're like, oh, this would be a great spot to put the sparkle or be a great time to put that film reel that comes across because I'm talking about a movie that I watched, something like that. Okay, so I'm back. And so that was session 2. Now I want to look into